Just a quick high-level overview of our focus for this year. We've broken it into 4 different areas and then a bunch of, I guess, small enhancements, which we'll show you at the end. But in terms of the 4 core areas, we're focusing on building out some new features in the learning and operations area. At the end of last year, we released some of our assessment functionality. We'll be extending on that this year with Gradebook, which I'll go into. A big focus on enhancing the in-person and live online learning experience as well, introducing a new resource library and shared resources, masterclasses and surveys, which can obviously be used for evaluations and other use cases as well. On the comms and marketing side, we'll be introducing our AI Learning Advisor. I'll go into some more detail around that. It's one of our first key AI features. We'll be improving the email and the program comms area of the platform. We've got a whole new feature around support and inquiries management, and we'll be enhancing the catalog as well. A big focus on uplifting the user experience across the board with some changes to the navigation, as well as improving the authoring experience and also adding some other AI features to support our learning designers on the platform and a new class list. And then finally, obviously more relevant to our education customers, but we'll be adding a whole bunch of features around finance and sales, specifically some dedicated feature for those sales roles. Enhancing some options around our pricing plans and looking at self-service finance functions as well. So I'll talk a little about that towards the end. So with that in mind, we'll go through each of those in a little bit more detail, starting with the learning side, which is obviously core to our business. The platform is obviously quite mature in terms of its self-paced and online learning. And as I mentioned, we'll be putting a big focus this year around accessible courses as well as live online and face-to-face. On the assessment side, at the end of last year, we released our new assessment activity. That was really focused around both short response assessments as well as quiz-style assessments to give the ability to create automated assessments. And in a couple of weeks, we'll be reintroducing a much updated gradebook feature, which will allow you to pull all of that together into gradable courses. And that can be used at the, I guess, the softer end or the competency-based end of assessment, where we can just give people a basic successful, not yet successful, or did not complete outcome, right through to more traditional grading approach that you would see in award-based programs. They can be either manually marked or automatically marked based on a score range, like you can see here. So that feature will be available shortly within the next few weeks. Throughout the entire year, we'll be doing, I guess, a whole bunch of small enhancements that add up to a big difference for our in-person and live online experience. As part of our navigational updates that I'll get to in a moment, we'll be looking at a new facilitator experience or coordinator experience that our facilitators will have when they access a program rather than seeing the learner experience. They will be able to see they'll be able to see a dedicated area for their homepage and class list, etc. With that, we'll be updating the calendar layout to work better for in-person courses, so that for courses that are multi-day, there'll be an updated experience for that. We'll be adding hybrid options for sessions as well as finally getting to a Teams integration and also looking at a deeper integration with Miro for those that like to do those kinds of collaborative activities within their live online classrooms. And to support both live online and in-person, we'll be adding some of our own in-class polls and quizzes to allow you to use the technology within the learning experience itself in those sessions. So that's just some of the updates we'll be making to the way the platform works for in-person and live online. We'll also be adding a new dedicated resource library for learning materials and learning activities that sit outside courses. So this allows you to distribute learning content to those people that have maybe finished a course previously and you want to keep them engaged, and to create a bit of a sense of community around a set of learning resources. Those will be able to be filtered to specific user groups so that you could have different people seeing different resources. So that's on the front end for the learner. If we think about the back end of this, those resources will also become shareable across programs, so that if you update one of these resources in one course, it will update across the platform. That will have an added benefit of allow us to do cross-platform reporting on activities such as diagnostics, surveys when they're introduced, and quizzes, etc. We'll also be introducing a dedicated masterclass experience. So it's obviously possible now to deliver masterclasses using the existing course functionality, but we'll be creating a dedicated simplified experience for masterclasses that is, I guess, smoother and easier for people to access given the cut down nature of a masterclass. But adding on top of that, we'll be creating essentially an events catalog or an event calendar that people can register to those masterclasses. And then, as you'll see when we get to the comms section, we're making some enhancements to the way emails work, which will allow us to start adding follow-up sort of EDMs to masterclasses to promote other courses that you might want people to do. And essentially treating masterclasses as a bit of a lead magnet to keep your community engaged and then getting them to enroll in future courses. If you're on the corporate side, those masterclasses are obviously an often preferred learning mode for short, sharp skill development as well. And finally, we'll be adding in our own native survey tool. It goes hand in hand with that shared resources section that I talked about before. You'll be able to create surveys most often for some form of evaluation, but you'll be able to use them for other things as well. And then those surveys will be able to be put in at the end of the course or during a course to support evaluation. Because they're shared, that means the same survey can be used across cohorts so that you can get better reporting that goes across different cohorts within your platform. We'll be also adding a couple of other embedded evaluation tools, particularly around sessions and evaluating how that particular session went and how that facilitator went in that particular session as well. And there'll be sort of out of the box options for evaluations. So together with the survey where you can ask custom questions and then some out of the box questions that will be automated for different sessions so that you can evaluate those. Moving on to some updates to the user experience. Those of you that are customers will have received an email last week about the navigation changes that we're making. This is one of the first updates for the year. We're essentially giving it a bit of more of a modern look, but also creating space for all of the things that are on this roadmap. So what is currently the menu across the top will be consolidated to a floating menu that sits on the left-hand side. Some of the items from the My Profile will go into there as well. Obviously, with the vertical space, that creates extra room for these new features. And we've also updated the whole course or program menu as well. In addition to adding the facilitator view, we've streamlined the learner view as well and made it easier to access the edit view from the little toggles that you can see at the top of the screen there. So that does roll out in the next few weeks. In addition to that, we'll be making a lot of small enhancements to authoring that are progressively rolled out throughout the year. This will obviously add up to some big improvements in the way that people author their courses and making it quicker for them. The shared library is one of those enhancements, but we are also redesigning the entire program or course settings section and adding a new course setup wizard to make it easier for people to set up different types of courses that may be sort of new to the system or are novice users and not needing to learn all of those settings. We'll also be building some different integrations for different tools, the most important one being the LTI integration. So the platform already has some level of LTI as a tool itself. So getting, for example, from Moodle to Academy is currently possible, but we'll be creating the reverse of that so that you can put your other learning tools into the system. One of the other enhancements we'll be doing is adding some AI learning design tools. The first one is a simple writing tool that will come out in the next within the next 2 months. It's currently in testing at the moment. But as we progressively work on this feature, as we enhance it over the year, we'll also be adding the ability to use it specifically in the context of the course that you're using. So for example, using it to help you write a specific activity related to the course that you're in. So these will start to roll out within the next couple of months as well. This will let you basically access these AI tools, which we've all become familiar with, but from directly within the platform anywhere that you are editing text. As part of our enhancement to the navigation. We've also basically rebuilt from the ground up the class list functionality. It's now got a much easier to use interface. Adding different users will be a lot easier with a little wizard for how we add in different users as well, including learners and coaches. Each have their own dedicated way of adding them to the platform. As part of this, we've also taken a look at the progress dashboard, which will be updated with the new course statuses, which we have introduced as part of the gradebook upgrade. So you can see across the top, there's now a more of a flow of different statuses a person can go through, and you'll see that throughout the platform when we do the update. Just as a point of clarification, if your course doesn't have assessment in it, the assessment-related statuses would not appear in your course. Onto the comms and marketing side. There's a few different enhancements in here that I'd like to walk you through. The first one is the AI Learning Advisor. This goes hand in hand with our customers that use our catalog at the moment, whether that be external or internal. This feature would be available to any of those customers. It's essentially a alternative to using a traditional catalog and asking AI to build you a specific learning plan and recommend courses that you should do. Or you can have an open chat with it to discuss the different options of courses right up to when it runs, what course should I do, etc. The first version of it will operate at 3 levels if I want to ask for a course for myself. The second level will be for managers asking about courses for their team members. So it responds as if you're a manager looking to develop your team. And then finally, at an organizational level where I might be wanting to put together more customized programs based on the core content that sits within the courses that exist within the catalog. Shortly after, we'll be adding a 4th level, which is actually for the sales assistants within our customer base. That's there to help your salespeople actually respond quicker to sales inquiries. And for sales assistants, we'll have a broader range of data available to them, including custom courses that may have not been publicly available within the catalog, but are on the platform. So it allows you to interrogate that and find a particular course on a particular topic, so to make that sales process a lot quicker. So that will be available. It's obviously useful for both corporate and education customers at the first 3 levels, and the 4th level is really targeted at our education customers. We'll be making a bunch of improvements to email from how you edit emails, but I think the most important 2 features that we're updating in here will be the ability to now be able to send marketing emails. So we're adding the ability to do unsubscribes, which means that we can put a lot more marketing email options in there for you for your course, whether that be internal marketing or external marketing. So a lot of follow-up emails to things like the points program, to those masterclasses that I mentioned as well. And also we're going to create a new view for emails. So you can see a bit of a comms plan, we're calling it, so that you see all the emails that will be sent as a result of the configuration that you've done for that particular course or program. So it really lets you see, okay, I've got these reminder emails turned on, I've got a follow-up email at the end of the course, etc., and really laying it out in a chronological format that makes it easy for you to understand what emails are going out. This is a feature that we're quite excited about. We're adding a new support and inquiries inbox feature. You'll be able to set up customizable inboxes based on different topics that your learners might be making inquiries about. Now, this isn't just for sales, it's the ability to take inquiries about the course or the program. And those different inboxes can be monitored by different people in your organization. So for example, if it was a program-based inquiry, it can go to the owner of the course. If it's a platform-based inquiry, it can go to the system administrator. If it's a sales-based inquiry, it can go straight to a sales team, etc. And that'll be customizable both in terms of the inboxes and the workflows within that system. Obviously, we'll be able to distribute and reallocate those inquiries should they need to be allocated to a different team. For those of you who work with our success team that also provide end user technical support, we'll be able to monitor that end user technical support through these inboxes and give you visibility over the questions that people are asking as well. In the catalog, we'll be making a bunch of enhancements to the landing pages and as well as the catalog search and navigation, giving it a bit more of a modern refresh. I think the more important thing in here is we're adding a lot more branding and theming options so that you can match it to your particular brand. And we're adding a lot more content to the landing pages as well, including more information on course benefits and course overview, etc. So that will be rolling out progressively throughout the year as well. We'll do those as progressive releases to enhance the experience. And the final section that we'll be focusing on this year is really building out that sales and finance function. The platform has already obviously got the ability to take payments via credit card and also via invoice, which is obviously an important part, is being able to have the money coming in, but we'll be focusing here on enhancing some of those payment plans so you can have more complexity in the way that you price your programs, as well as looking at self-service on the transfers and refunds side. So I'll just walk through those in a little bit more detail now. The first thing is creating this dedicated sales or enrollment area in the platform at the moment. If you need to enroll someone in a course if they're a new paying learner, for example, a salesperson would need to go into that course to enroll them. We'll be creating a dedicated area where they can just come in and quickly enroll someone in any course without needing to actually be a coordinator on that course. You'll be able to manage enrollments from here as well as invoices without needing to go into that particular course and see a total overall picture of all the enrollments that are currently coming in to your platform. We'll also move applications into this area so that you can centrally manage those applications. We'll also be looking at enhancing the pricing plans on the platform. So essentially at the moment, you can create different pricing plans at different pricing points and have availability to different users as well as early bird, etc. But we'll be adding the option to have ancillary add-ons, so things like accommodation or other optional add-ons that people might want, and those can each be treated differently from a tax perspective as well. So that will be rolling out throughout the first half of this year as well. It gives you the option to have upsells as well. The next thing that we'll be looking at, having done that, is self-service finance. The first part of self-service finance is really codifying those refund policies so that we can enable self-service finance. So you'll be able to say there's an administration fee on any transfer so that you can pay for any of your internal costs. When someone does a transfer or refund, you can set a percentage based refund based on time as well. We'll be applying then that self-service in 3 different areas: transfers, refunds, and substitutions. We'll also be building another feature around cancellations where the organization cancels the course. And all of those will essentially be automated so that the participant can self-service on those activities. Now, the way it will work is if you go to do a transfer, it will look at what percentage you're entitled back, and then it will put that as a credit towards which course you're going to enroll in, and you'll need to pay the difference or you get the rest back as a credit on hold. So speaking of credits on hold, obviously that's a big part of any transfer or refund. So we will have an option to have a credit on hold within it. We will have an option for a credit on hold, which is essentially enables you to not necessarily have to give people a cash refund. They can store that credit for a future course. Having built that functionality, we'll also apply it to the option for what we're calling a development fund. So that's essentially if a B2B organization came to you and said, I would like to buy X thousand dollars worth of courses. I'm just not sure who's going to do it yet or what courses they're going to do. We will have the option for you to put that credit into that system under an individual name or an organization's name, and they can burn down on that as they enroll in courses throughout whatever the period you've said that development fund is available for. And of course, there'll be a credits on hold report, so you can monitor the burn down on those liabilities as well. So that's a bit of an overview of what we're doing in those 4 core areas. I do have a list of a number of other small enhancements that we will be rolling out throughout the year as well. People have been asking for this one for a while. There's going to be some scheduled notices. So your notice board, you'll be able to set them up in advance and they can be sent out at a particular time. Those notices will be able to be saved as part of your course template. So if you send the same notice at the same day on a course every time that course runs, that notice will be copied across when you set up the next run of that course, and it will just automatically go out once you enable it in after the copy. One that we're quite excited about is the ability to add sub-portals to your main portal. If you have a different use case or a B2B customer that might want their own little portal attached to yours. We do have a number of customers already that technically have sub-portals, but this will allow us to connect them together so that you can get an overview of how much activity you have on all of your sub-portals, as well as single sign-on between the portals if you're an administrator. It'll also allow us to bring together those support requests that I talked about before into one view on your main portal, so you don't have to go into the sub portals in order to provide support for those customers. We'll be looking at a deeper integration with Guroo Pro for those customers that do use our Guroo Pro authoring tool. You'll be able to access that with one click from here. And have it appear with the same left-hand menu that you can see in our navigational update. We'll also be adding more granular roles and permissions to both the platform and to the editing roles. So you'll be familiar with the fact that we have two roles in a course at the moment, a coordinator and a facilitator. We'll be allowing you to be able to customize those roles so that you can have different things like a learning designer role, a editor role, etc. A bunch of other AI stuff coming, evaluation insights and AI assessment support are just two of them. There'll be some other AI stuff that rolls out towards the end of the year, which we'll be excited to announce to you when it's ready. We'll be making some enhancements to coaching to make it work a little bit better so that you can still have coaching enabled, but not everyone needs to have a coach in the experience. Updates to the pathway user experience. For our customers that do have sub portals and that do service other organizations or customers, we'll be making a organization profile available so you can store a profile for your organizational customers. And associated to that, you'll be able to give those I guess the administrators or your key contact at each of your organizations the ability to do organizational or customer reporting so they can see how much learning their particular employees have done, and they'll also be able to manage those development funds that I talked about. And then finally, we'll be obviously doing a bunch of enhancements to the API extensions. With all of these features, obviously, it's important for you to be able to integrate with your system. So we'll be adding a bunch of new options to our API so that you can integrate with your CRM, etc. And then finally today, I just wanted to point out of all of this, what will be available to you this month. So we have quite a big release coming up at the end of the month. Our team's been very busy over the summer. Those navigation updates that I mentioned will be rolling out at the end of this month, including the new facilitator view, the new homepage, and then the new course overview section as well. So what used to be the review onboarding section has now been embedded into the course overview. The completely rebuilt class list will roll out that I mentioned, updates to the enrollment workflows, new learner progress bar, new for people to keep track of their learning journey will also be rolling out. The new progress report will be coming as well. I did mention gradebook as well. I think another small feature that will make a big difference to people is you'll now be able to have a primary location for a course that displays the learners in any communication that you send out rather than having to rely on the locations within each session. We'll also be integrating maps and how to get here instructions into those program locations and address book as well. A lot of improvements to the way sessions work, including a new enhanced session report and enhanced session reminders so that you can get more granular on who gets what session reminders as well. And then finally, we'll for those of you that use our finance features, there's two new reports which we know people have been waiting for. One is a transactions report so that you can see all of the transactions, and specifically a second one, which is about looking at abandoned transactions. So those people that might start a purchase but don't complete it, you'll be able to then follow up with those people from your sales and marketing team. With that in mind, I think that is the end of our presentation. As Donna mentioned, we'll be making this available online in the next couple of days, and we didn't get a lot of time for questions, so we will make sure that we look at those questions afterwards and post them with the video answers to those with the video as well. And of course, if you do have any questions about that, feel free to contact our support desk at the support email shown here, or also go and have a look at our new help site that we have recently set up as well. So yeah, with that, thank you everyone, and we look forward to shipping these features to you throughout the year.
Thanks, everyone.